One of the things I want to talk about, and this goes right towards the end of the film, and that is when Harry and all of his friends they got to the ministry to try to get uh, this glass ball um, that had the prophecy. And towards the end of that, they were running out, trying to run out of the ministry, and they were in a very narrow hallway. So, what I believe in terms of how this scene was filmed, I think they probably did some previs with some actors, but also then they got the actual actors in there and filmed it in a particular hallway, probably not as narrow as it was when they were leaving, and then have the camera in front, behind them, overhead, to the left and to the right, and filming them as they're running out and using the charms to fight off the bad guys. And then you bring in the visual effects people to have that in terms of things falling down on them and also just shrinking the hallway. So just a bit of in terms of what I believe happened in terms of how that scene was filmed, because once we see the final product as they're leaving, it's a very narrow hallway with all those things falling down on them. And so just something I thought about that I noticed there, just wanted to talk about with that. And then once they leave the ministry and then they're out in this big open space, one of the things I wanted to mention is the battle sequence at that point. Once they get up from the ground, we see all of you can say Voldemort's army, his small army, and then the battle eventually ensues with the Order of the Phoenix coming down to help. I like the way how that whole scene went in terms of the music, in terms of how the cameras were rotating and the battles that were happening with that. And that took a lot of coordination. And there's a couple of roles that I want to highlight. In one role, particular, the first role, I want to talk about the visual effects producer, and I'm going to read this definition. And so the visual effects producer, that person is responsible for managing the entire process of creating and integrating the visual effects for a film or a TV project. This includes overseeing the budgets, the schedules, team coordination, and communication between the directors, the VFX supervisors, artists, and post-production teams to ensure the final VFX meet the creative and technical goals of the production. So they're kind of a project manager, so to speak, but with the visual effects background, making sure everything is moving smoothly in that department in collaboration with the director and all the different teams. And so the visual effects producer for this particular Harry Potter film, her name is Emma Norton. And she has worked on pretty much Harry Potter movie number 3 all the way through movie number 8 through Deathly Hallows Part 2. She's also worked on 4 DC films, including The Flash in 2023, Wonder Woman in 2017, The Suicide Squad in 2021, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom in 2023. So she had a hand in that battle sequence towards the end with Voldemort's army and the Order of the Phoenix. Another role that was important in this scene to me, because I saw these credits as the movie was ending, I thought this would be cool to talk about because I haven't really spoken about these roles. But the way the camera was rotating and how the battle was happening for that, another role, a camera operator and steadicam. That role was by Jeremy Hillis. And then the B camera operator, which Wojciech Sterin, and then also the first assistant camera, which is Kim Serber and Henrik Jadanik. They were the ones behind those roles, operating those cameras for us to get what we saw in that final sequence when the Order and Voldemort's army were battling. So just wanted to shout those people out. I thought they did an excellent job, along with all the other departments and the director and pursuing the vision and how that scene ultimately came together. And so I just really like how it was going with the battles and the wands and everything. So great job with that. And also particularly that sequence with Voldemort and Dumbledore with the Battle of the Wands with those visual effects. I loved how that was happening as well.